I'm handling some things that are still from yesterday. Had two UBS guys come over last night. Unity up 1%. HIM's down 4% after a wild trading day yesterday that left a lot of people in shambles. HIM's now cooling off a bit. Charles River, hour long, astonishing 25% earnings. Let's go. Needed that. Of course, Sarepta down 15. We'll see how that rebounds today. It's looking somewhat better than last night. Now hovering around the $40 mark. Hopefully we can get to mid 40s today. That's kind of would be a break-even point, at least for me and my new business partners. SPY's up 30 bips. Trump has promised some massive news coming soon. HIM's rallying back, almost break even now, almost flat on the day, I should say. A lot of volatile trading going on. Sarepta has had two back-to-back kind of black swans. First was a new FDA commissioner who's very conservative. Doesn't seem to like Sarepta. My interpretation of that is it's a non-event, but it scared stockholders quite a bit yesterday. Second black swan was they had terrible earnings and guidance. They lowered their sales guidance by 500 million or more. So it was really astonishing. Yeah, I don't know on HIMs. I think, I'm going to give it a few more days, but certainly if it goes up anymore, I'd probably get out. So my cost basis from before was in the 40s. I want to say like 45 or 46. And then after the call, after the earnings came out, I bought some more, and that's around 37, 80, like 38 almost. So I'm up a small amount on the post-earnings trade. Yeah, Charles River. We might kick Charles River out at this point. What an amazing quarter. Yeah, Capper, that sounds right. Like I said, having technical difficulties right now. Texting people, they're not responding. Meta's just a great company. I don't know what about lead pipe cinches. Yeah, I was just about to do AMD. So guidance was 7.4. Pretty big number. So guidance was 7.1. Wow. AMD having real revenue growth for the first time in a while. Kind of had an easy comparable, I guess, but still. I don't know. I do think the market's going to go down more, but AMD number was really good. Sorry, I'm just balancing a bunch of different things right now. Got a little situation developing here. I do want to watch the PTJ interview. Unfortunately, there is a smart money consensus. I mean, everyone with a lot of capital who's got a brain is bearish, but I'm not sure it means anything. That's what smart money consensus is, but that doesn't mean that's what the market's going to do. Yeah, if all the smart money is cautious, underinvested, money on the sideline, any good news market will rip, right? The positioning is very bullish. On the same token, of course, if the smart guys are bearish, that's probably not good news if you're bullish. Yeah, I mean, my average after hours net panic was 37.80 or something like that. Now I'm almost breaking even on that and losing a lot on that intraday trade from yesterday. SPY's up 24 bips. We're going to look at IonQ, get ready for that quarterly earnings report, see how their Q1 went. They've done a lot of acquisitions, pretty messy situation, so we're going to try to unpack that and figure that out. Do you think it's a good short? Short it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know exactly, of course, what's going to happen to IonQ. I think that, like I said, let's wait for the earnings preview. I think earnings matter a little bit. They've tried to make their company about revenues and earnings. I don't know why HIMS is still going up. It's a momentum stock that is loved by the Robinhood crowd. All the shorts on Wall Street have finally covered. But, one of the things that is sometimes hard to see, or you see too early in these trading positions, is follow through. So like a good example is, so the hedge funds that covered on the Novo deal, and then the hedge funds that covered yesterday, they're still sort of like piling on top of each other to get out. And, that also creates a small buying frenzy, but you can see that it seems to have petered out a little. But man, it's a weird situation. The immediate reaction after hours was, this is not such a great quarter or guidance. But then the supply demand characteristics sort of took over. Yeah, I thought I bought Palantir because I thought if HIMS can go up 25% on a so-so quarter, Palantir kind of had a relatively better quarter. So Oh yeah, we went long Palantir once the HIMS rocket took off. That's kind of a pseudo hedge. I think Bitcoin's kind of a little bit lame now. Yeah, App is kind of this like weirdly fraudulent company, but they're also growing. It's kind of like I hate to say it's kind of like Valiant, but that's probably not the right analogy. But it's like the earnings are great, the earnings are great, the earnings are great, and then it turns out that our entire business model is predicated on this like really weird predatory thing we're doing. And this happens, this is sort of reflexivity where it happens true to form for Sarepta, where I don't think it's a stock price exactly, but the stock kind of freaking people out, freaks the patients out and the parents out. Now they don't want to take the drug because they think something's wrong. Well, Applovin is even worse, where, their customers and them now are saying, well, why are we being attacked? What are we doing that's so weird that's generating this great sales growth? And then people are sort of sitting there saying, oh, are we doing something illegal? I don't think Resolute is affected.
Hi, I'm speaking to Martin Shkreli.
Yes.
Hi, Martin. I just wanted to let you know this is on a recorded line. This is James from JPMorgan last night. JPMorgan, we spoke last evening. You remember me?
Yeah. What's up, man?
All right. You can call me James, not man. I would appreciate that.
Okay. Sorry.
Listen, I have some better news. I want to apologize. I was a bit hostile last night. The amount of stress I have to deal with because of all of this, because of what happened with you and Jamie, my colleagues. And for the record, I want you to know, things have gotten a little better, but Keith is still suspended and all communications with him are cut off.
Well, I can call Keith if I want. So I don't know what you're telling me that I can't. I've known we go back since he was at Lehman Brothers. That's 20 years ago. He brought me into this, and he brought me to Jamie in the first place. So
I understand that. Listen, we're the bank. We make the rules, all right? Just Keith, communication with Keith is suspended, all right? I'm calling to let you know that, listen, no new trades are going to be placed. I want to make myself very clear.
No, if I place it, I'm going to place trades. You can't stop me. What are you talking about?
I don't want to have to repeat myself. I don't want to have to call again, all right? So I'm going to say again, we are not going to honor any trades that you make. Do you understand this?
Are you telling me that our relationship is over permanently, or you don't want to make any new trades today? Or what are you saying exactly?
Well, I mean, Martin, your trades have not been profitable.
Correct, but I'm a customer. So if I tell Bank of America to buy 100,000 AMD right now, you guys would not close the trade. You wouldn't accept it.
I suppose if these trades are profitable,
that's what I'm talking about.
Maybe we'll honor those. I can't give you any guarantees. The deficit appears to be down to 8 million, which is, good news, at least for the moment.
Yeah, but I got some more trades you don't know about that, you're not going to love.
Oh, really? Are you threatening me? Do you know
No, it's not. It's just, you're the bank. You're going to have to clear these trades. They're I was involved in this HIMS that's not going great for me either. And you guys are going to get some HIMS trades from UBS that you're probably not going to like.
Really? All right. Yeah. Well, you can say that now, but like I said, we're the bank. We make the rules. Your account has to be compliant with our rules. I'm sure you understand. I don't need to tell you that.
Yeah. Well, when we started this relationship, you bragged about how big of a bank you were, $1 trillion balance sheet, access to the CEO, and now you guys are crying about $6 million. What is it?
Excuse me, Martin. You cannot just lose millions and expect us to shrug our shoulders, okay? And they're like, this is nothing. Do I need to tell you that? UBS lets me do it. Martin, you're a convicted felon. You were in prison, okay? We're taking a big chance and a big risk on you.
Maybe I should move the money to UBS.
UBS? You mean Nazi money?
Whoa, what are you talking about? It's a Swiss bank. It's the Bank of Switzerland.
Swiss bank. Right, yeah. We call that Nazi money where I'm from.
Okay. That's a little crazy, but, you guys, they're a partner. whatever. But regardless, UBS.
You like Nazi money? Why don't you just move to Argentina? Okay.
Wow. What is this? Let's get Keith back in here. I don't like you, James. What the hell's wrong with you?
All right, listen. I'm expecting a call from Connie. She's the head of all the North American markets. I'm sure you're going to be hearing from her.
Yeah, I talked to her last night. She's a peach.
She's a what?
She's a peach. She's great. She's wonderful. Lovely lady.
Oh, peach. Okay, I thought you said something else. Okay. If you're able to make some profitable trades.
Well, you're telling me I can't trade, and then you want profits. You know the quantum is tonight. I know you know the quantum's tonight. So.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling you now. I'm calling you early, bright and early, so we don't have to wait till tonight. But listen, you're going to hear from Connie. Like I said, the deficit appears to be down to 8 million. It's good news from where we were the other day.
Yeah.
But like I said, Martin, you really have no ground to stand on.
Well, you give me another day, and maybe the deficit will be a surplus.
Yeah, maybe it will be. Maybe the world will end tomorrow. Maybe.
Okay, fine, I get it.
Maybe all the worlds in the world. A lot of things can happen, but we can't. We're a bank. We can't just assume that somebody with your background, okay, who we've given a second chance to. Okay, do I have to repeat? You're a convicted felon. We gave you a big chance. Listen, Citadel doesn't do this. Fidelity doesn't do this. Do they? Are you aware? These companies don't do this.
Wow.
We're trying to be reasonable. We know that you are a smart investor. We know that you have a lot of skill, but we really just can't keep taking chances. Yeah.
Well, look, maybe, you need to take chances because I could be the next Citadel. And that, when Citadel was down 50%, I believe you were there in 2008, and that was a crisis. And you guys let them live.
Things were different back then, Martin. This is 2025, all right? Things are different. We've got. Listen, I really don't need to tell you. The main thing you need to know is that every crisis that we've had so far, every crisis seems to involve you in some way. Is that just a coincidence? Is this just some kind of magical thing that you have going on? What is the deal with that? Why do we always have to come to this? Why do I have to get screamed at by Jamie and have to deal with all this stress from my colleagues? I didn't sleep at all last night. Did you sleep? Did you have a good night's sleep last night? I hope you did, because I didn't.
I did. I am confident in my investments, and, the stress to the balance sheet is significant, but these trades will reverse. It's mean reversion. Remember when Renaissance was on the ropes in...
Of course I do.
Renaissance was on the ropes in, what was it, 2007? No, 2007. Yes.
We didn't lend to Renaissance.
You guys didn't lend to Renaissance? I thought that was your account.
No. Do you know who did? Those idiots at Barclays are the ones who led it to Renaissance. We did not here at JPMorgan. We did not.
Well, Renaissance was in trouble. Their bank stood by them. It passed. This is the same thing. It's mean reversion. These stocks have blown out, and all of your other clients, the Citadels, the Millenniums, they've capitulated already. They've forced the prices even further, which makes it harder for me to survive. So now everyone's playing a game of hot potato, and just let things cool off. When Citadel and all those guys, not Citadel, when Renaissance and all those guys were blowing up in that crazy simultaneous quant contagion, one firm went down, but the firms that held steady survived. And
Martin, listen, why don't you just tell me the sky is blue, okay? I know what you're saying. I know all this already. We don't want another Bill Hwang. Do you understand? I'm sure you know what happened with him.
I know what happened with Bill Hwang.
All right, well, we don't want that. We really don't need that. I don't need that. Jamie doesn't need that.
Yeah, but Bill, if they held on to Bill's trades, he'd be fine. First of all, they did the same thing. They called him up. guys he's never heard of. I don't know you. I deal with Keith. Guy I never heard of, woman I never heard of, saying, we're going to take your money away. You're doing too much. You know, first you let me in the casino. No, let me finish. Now I'm mad. You let me in the casino. You give me all this capital. And now you say, oh, wait, you're betting, you know, you can't play in the casino. You know, Bill, you did this to Bill too, and it caused a catastrophe. And now look how they're treating Bill.
Mr. Shkreli, you did this to yourself, okay? Bill is doing 25 years in prison, okay? Do you want to go to jail again?
That's not your concern, okay?
Listen, I don't want to see that happen to you. Nobody wants to see that happen to you. But the bottom line is, you can't just lose millions of dollars and expect us to just shrug our shoulders and let this, you know, like this is water going down our back. I mean, listen, we make the rules, man. We're the bank. I don't know what to tell you. You think you're above the bank? You think you're above the law? I mean, we've seen this already. You think because what? Because you're from Brooklyn? You think you can get away with anything?
It has nothing to do with it. All right, I gotta go. That's enough of this.
All right, listen, I have to deal with Connie. I got to deal with Connie. I got to deal with Keith. All right, so I'll keep.
All right, I got someone's on the other line. All right. Yeah, I would normally agree with you, but the problem is JPMorgan has to report, and if this 2.8 million shares outstanding, so this could cause them to miss earnings by 1 penny a share, which is enough to move their stock. HIMS is dropping, so we're not cooked yet. I think this JPMorgan guy somehow turned off my Schwab account too. How would that even be possible? Hold on. Okay, Schwab account is up. Schwab account is up 10 basis points. Better than being down. Let's try some of the other accounts. We're up a tiny amount. Up is better than down. We were down yesterday. Okay, interactive account's not looking that bad. We're gonna be all right. Let's do a portfolio review of the Schwab account. Not much has changed. This is kind of like my model portfolio, if you will. Biggest short is Rigetti. Second biggest is IonQ. That's almost exactly the same amount. That's about 5% of the portfolio. D-Wave, HIMS, which we're down on, but you know, our average is literally 44. Is that right? 44. Anavex, QCI, INMB, Capricorn, which is down a huge amount. Strategy, RTX, Celis, Recursion, Huma, Farming. Wait, not Farming. Farming we're long. So Huma's the smallest one. Okay, so that's a short book. QC is still cost us money technically, but we'll rebound. Okay, the long book, we have Sarepta. I'm gonna buy a tiny bit just because I'm pretty convinced it can't get worse, but of course it can get worse. You know, this is a really small account. You guys told me to make the account this size so that it was sort of relatable. So performance attribution is important here. Yeah, you can see these are all the trades of Sarepta that I've ever done in this account. I bought at 62, then I bought at 52, then I bought even more at 58, then I bought even more at 49, and then I just bought some at 38. So pretty wild. Average cost is now $50. So, you know, unlikely to be a profitable trade, but that's where we're at. Palantir is my second biggest long, kind of a HIMS hedge. Net. I have not realized profit at this account, but the Palantir HIMS combo trade has been basically flat. Akiro is my next biggest long, then Thera Technologies, then Resolute, then NVIDIA, then Meta, then Regeneron, then Union Pacific, then Charles River, then PayPal, then Dawn, which has kind of been a dog, Invivid, which is about break even, Gilead, American Express, Biohaven, XYZ, and Tarsus. There's Charles Rivers. Charles River up a huge amount. Maybe time to kick it to the curb. Yeah, coffee and fruit would be good. And anyone calls from JPMorgan, just tell them I'll call them back. Almost exactly flat. So yeah, 62, 52. Those are smaller trades. And then bigger trade at 58, then 49, and 38. Just That account is now $30,000 and $12. I don't know, 5 years is a long time. I don't know this management well enough. If there's a CEO I like and I meet them and I really like them, I would be able to buy the stock and hold it for 5 years. But I don't really trust anybody like that. How many CEOs do you like that much? And I don't just want to listen to the conference call and like him. I want to actually meet him. I want to know other people that like him. I want to know his background, his history, all that. Yeah, I'm still expecting to make 30% on the portfolio this year with a stretch goal of 100%. You know, Sarepta clobbered 2% out of that. But my basic strategy is that I take more risk as I get some profit. There's a lot of red flags with CEOs. Probably the biggest one is hubris. You know, it feels good to be in charge, feels good to be a CEO. A lot of these guys start prioritizing the wrong things in their life. That's the number one thing I've seen. You just look at the things they do in their personal life and you see that it isn't that, you know, what got them into the seat they're in is like a very different thing from what kind of, I don't know how to put this, like what the way they're acting now. So a lot of these guys feel like kind of become celebrities in their own head. You know, I understand that completely. You know, how do you humble while, you know, you're in charge of a whole publicly traded company? So in my other account, my average on Sarepta is 43.34. Now that I look at some of these numbers, they're certainly a lot better than I feared. I did keep buying, so a small rally could get me to a manageable loss. But yeah, my position size is many times bigger than this whole account. So yeah, so the CEO has to stay humble. That's a big deal. And then board members are a little bit different. I did just short a tiny bit more in the other account. Certainly in the model account, look, once your account's in red, which it now is down, you know, a couple basis points. Once your account is down, you should just basically stop taking risk and take as little risk as possible. Yeah, exactly, Badges. I think it's also just for capital preservation. Like the biggest enemy of compounding is a drawdown. So if you are down, it's time to take all your risk away and inch your way back up to the green. And then you can take some risk. You know, it's like just rolling the boulder up the hill. People usually want to take more risk when they're losing. That's correct. It's definitely the case. As they emotionally want to fight back. But the reality is, you know, whatever it was that you were doing wasn't working. And it's time to stop doing it and maybe try something else. But there's an insistence for some people, not everyone. There's an insistence that, oh, well, I will prevail. I will do this my way and I'm going to get, you know, I will be right. And it's not, what's important is not being right. What's important is your P&L and account value goes up. You know, in the old days, you would, if somebody was having trouble, you know, they would bet against them. I'm not nervous about this account. Any position is risk. Every position you have is risk. The question is, are you going to get the reward?